any information other than on 132 women. And he could tell us maybe that 120 came from certain areas. Now I highlight that not by way of demonising or indeed criticising him, but highlighting it for us to look at. The debate was framed the very first day that that report was published, when the announcement was made there was no sexual or physical abuse. They framed the debate, and he framed the debate either of his own accord or with help to look at the financial viability of institutions rather than looking at the horror of what happened. And us as a society, certainly anybody of my age group, accepting responsibility, because it would be too easy to blame the nuns. They certainly had a very significant role to play. But we as a society also played a role in that. I grew up in this city. I went to college in this city. I was part of a women's liberation movement on the fringes. We failed to ask questions about what was going on. And unless we begin to learn at the process that removed us from that building and removed our sense of solidarity with our sisters in that building, then we will fail to learn anything. And how did that happen? That happened primarily out of fear. Fear was instilled in us, and certainly in certain areas of the city, that was where we would end up. And any sense of feeling or natural solidarity was taken from us. And we didn't question, and we didn't ask, because we knew what would happen to us. And it seems to me that if we're going to have a process of healing, we're going to begin to have to look at that, because that has been repeated today in the 21st century on just about every aspect of Irish society. A government that tells us this is the only way, this is the only vision, and we're all being reduced to passive recipients of information as opposed to questioning. But questioning is not enough. We must get answers and shape the debate in a different way. We can take courage. We can take courage, I think, from one thing. The Taoiseach failed to respond when this report was published. He failed to act from instinct, from humanity. 2 weeks later he acted. He was pushed into action by Irish society, and I think we can take hope from that. He was pushed into action by the courageous survivors of the Magdalene laundry, by the organisations that worked for them, and by the sense of outrage by the ordinary people in Ireland. I think that's one hopeful sign that there is something there amongst us still that sees a different vision and a different way of doing things. I'm going to finish by saying we must keep the pressure on. When the Taoiseach gave his report, there was no mention of compensation. There was no mention of rights. There was a mention of the secret that wasn't really a secret. There was a failure to deal with anything, and it's only as a result of pressure that we will get due, and I don't like the word compensation, recompense, including a pension at the very basic, including the lack of salary that they got. And it has to be done with dignity, and it has to be done with speed. In addition, it has been brought to our attention that there's a grave up in Bohermore, and we don't know how many former residents are buried there, and there are no names. At the very least, that has to be rectified. And I know that the council have all the records, and they've been very helpful in doing the research, and the names are there, and that has to be done. On another level, and I've said this before, and many other people, there's a former industrial school in Taylor's Hill run by the same Sister of Mercy. We've asked before for that building to be donated to the city. This is now a golden opportunity. It can serve two functions, in the sense of commemorating the children that went to the industrial school in Lenavoy, and it can also serve to commemorate the women that were incarcerated, because that was the word, incarcerated, in this building to our right, or that was there. And I think that should be done, and in fact the nuns have set a precedent, because they offered that building to the health executive free gratis and for nothing, but the health executive didn't want it. So that building is there, and with imagination and with working with somebody like the Civic Trust, or indeed with the newly named FÁS, that building could be an oasis in the middle of the city for all of us, because all of us are part of the recovery. Lastly, I salute the survivors who have shown us that they could not be silenced, and that was a huge achievement. And I want to salute Patricia Brogan. I know she doesn't like publicity. She's been an absolute inspiration to me and to all of us in a very quiet and dignified way. So, Garamila Magiv Galer.
Fair play Catherine Connolly. Agus is mór an tragóide agus deirm gur tragóide. Ná raid linne an bhain sin a chuir sa dáil á bhbliain ó hin. Agus cínta go gcuinnín sí leis agus teagadtí machar bhar a gcónaí fair playide lena chud taide, lena chud cainte agus cholignéile go bhhéiteach rá. Tá rá nús Catherine Connolly go dhí go mór ar a tír seo. Agus má tá teile go le tíochta seo neamh, bhain se mála go bhrá go chuine leis a bhaile tíocht. Fáisteachan sin ar sinna téanbhealach amháin go bhfuinmuid Catherine amán. Agus leis an ócad teanneamh freisin tispáinse chlág agus a a bhile réaltas in réaltas móm líon méidir fisadó níor dearnaíú táid a faoi seo agus sin an aglas chumá dágmuid ag an aglas agus cheapid gur an aglas iontach agus ní éiteach tú táid ará faoi hágart ná faoi man réalta na táid mar ré sna blianta nuair a bhí me sé fás níos bhí siad na Anglia agus in na nuíomh agus ní mar a híltar i vítar ar the foot machine. I just want to commend Catherine Connolly on her wonderful speech here today and her dedication to any aspects that have to do with our lives in general, but with women's issues in particular. And she never lost it, and I have said earlier that it's a tragedy that we did not manage, for the sake of 11 votes, to get her into Dáil Éireann in the last election. And remember that we need women like Catherine Connolly to work for us as women, and indeed generally for everything. Tá Róisín go le castanis óran a chuma, because I really and truly believe when I was asked to sing here today, that there but for fortune go I, and you are I. And so I've changed Phil Oak's words to words that would suit those women who were in those horrific laundries and in other places, and what happened to them, and we don't know the half of it.
Show me the laundries where these girls were slaves. Show me the dormitories where their lives were erased. I'll show you a young girl with many reasons why, and there but for fortune may go you or I. Show me the baby snatched from its mother's breast, taken to a foreign land. We all know the rest. And I'll show you a young girl with many reasons why, and there but for fortune may go you or I. Show me the young men that love responsibility for their loved one or child. And I'll show you a young man with many reasons why, and there but for fortune may go you or I. Show me the graveyard wherein these young girls lie, as we mourn o'er their bodies and ask, why did they have to die? And I'll show you a young girl with so many reasons why, and there but for fortune may go you or I, or I. Show me the state that continue to deny. Show me the church that failed them time after time. And I'll show you, my friends, for so many reasons why we must now take a stand for both you and I, you and I. Want to hate, I go so want to hear. one to one ya agus one to one ni ach is a road ein natis go one to the
I'll just finish up now with a few verses of a very ancient old song that again depicts how women were treated, especially if they became pregnant and unwed. This one is called Magdalene, and she is murdered by her lover just because she is pregnant, and even though she pleads for her life and asks him not to do it, he still kills her. So Magdalene, couple of verses. Binds on our world, Walani Vloy, or Chukadis Hachangalat, Machit Gantils ach hwyl sgommen it's our good dachlin katach ba anju kaede khun on the Walani Vloy, Mahai Merchulan Tampelat, Ker the Veschayin Lanyon. Is Gosakrofi Moilaunus Lamalani Vloy Hagamelo Madachu on the Shem ochu igvile bron Snare hil skikker legenner Machet kan tilse står Ach, når det tisje misje skisle Augustaskel med maskinara Augustkil med full akrile Gåvar jeg lach i brøy Hanik ma Tam tar shaetiach enu asart Div washwaleni vlon. Real Maggie.
Last year, a small group of us gathered at the graves of some of the women from the Magdalene laundries who are buried in Overmore, and we laid flowers on their graves. We didn't know the names of the women who were buried there or at what age they died, but we wanted to pay tribute to those women, to their lives, their struggle and their death, and we wanted to just pay our own personal tributes. And we hoped that in the week of International Women's Day, which is the week that we're in now, that we could make that an annual event. So after this, I'll be going up to Overmore to the cemetery if anybody else would like to come, and I'll take any flowers that are here if anyone would like me to do so, and lay them on the graves. Thank you.
Can we all give a minute for the women of the Magdalene laundries? We came here today to commemorate all those women, the ones that have already died. Some say maybe as many as 15,000 women, and the hundreds that are still alive today, the survivors. We acknowledge that for 70 years there was abuse of the most vulnerable girls and women in the Magdalene laundries. So we come today to acknowledge and commemorate those women, but we leave here today and we demand justice for those women. Thank you very much.
Down in the right front there. Sorry. Alright. Thanks. I hope I'll be picking up the right ones now. Rob is laughing on the ground and they're not today to see my daughter's little baby.
Oh,